Interstate 820 is a major northern bypass route of Interstate 20 in Fort Worth, acting as a loop, again, going around the main area of Fort Worth. Conceived in the late 60s as part of the interstate highway system and reaching completion of its current layout in the late 70s, it's one of the few highways in DFW that was built to the same standards, well, as it was built. What's going on, everyone? My name's Gold Titanium 68, and in today's video, we're going to be briefly discussing the newest project along the Interstate Loop 820, dubbed 820 Northwest. Let's roll the intro. Now, before we continue, I highly recommend you guys watching our other videos showcasing Interstate Loop 820, as well as some of the other projects that we've gone on. Again, on top of going 820 just in general, we've gone over the Southeast Connector, as well as 820 East. Those do give a pretty good description as to what's been going on along the Interstate 820 corridor. Now, today's video, however, this one is going to be probably one of the longer-ish project videos. The reason for this is, well, it's a brand new project. I mean, I'm not kidding on this. This was recent. This was announced like just last year in August of 2023. This was when they started doing all the stakeholder meetings, which then led into city and agency meetings as well as technical work group meetings. All of this did go on for about a year until the first ever public meeting was held on November 7th, 2024. About 2.5 weeks from when this video goes live. Now, going over the 820 Northwest corridor, this is going to lie on 820 between 35 West and going, well, following basically the northwest side of Fort Worth and ending right at I-30. And it's been split up into 3 segments: the north segment, the mid segment, and the south segment. On top of rebuilding, expanding, and modernizing Interstate 820 in this corridor, there's also plans to work on a 1.7 mile stretch of Business 287, as well as a about 2 mile stretch of State Highway 199, and a 2 mile stretch of Azle Avenue coming off of 199. On top of the 13.5 mile long corridor of Loop 820 that we worked on, there's going to be a total of 5.9 miles of other roads that do not lie on 820 itself, bringing this project to a total of 19.4 miles of roadway being reconstructed and modernized. Now, currently, Loop 820 is a 6 to 8 lane highway with discontinuous frontage roads all along the highway corridor. In Texas, a lot of our highways have around a 2 to 3 lane frontage road on both sides of the highway, allowing for businesses to develop alongside the highway while also having direct access without having to get off onto another road. These are what are known as frontage roads. And when I mean by discontinuous frontage roads, it means that in like a set area, those frontage roads do not connect through the whole area. Continuous frontage roads do. So that's pretty much what the big difference is between discontinuous and continuous frontage roads. There are going to be like some different conditions when it comes to this corridor. Now, if we take a look at 287, this is coming, and by the way, this is coming straight from the November 7th public meeting. So what are some of the things? And mainly the main difference is going to be 287. Now, you guys are probably like, why does this matter? The reason for that is because 287 and 820 has a huge cloverleaf interchange. Now, when you guys are probably like, what is a cloverleaf interchange? Basically, what this means is that unlike, let's say, something like the 820 35 West, which has a stacked interchange, where you've got multiple different levels of and bridges going over 820 and 35 West. This utilizes like a 270-degree turn to either exit or enter onto 820, well, Business 287 or Interstate 820. Now, on here, again, we've got discontinuous frontage roads throughout the whole thing. There is a collector-distributor system, which are lanes between the frontage roads, as well as the main lanes to move traffic away from the merging main lanes, and that is what these lanes are right here. So there's no continuous frontage roads, because basically once you get to the Saginaw Rail Yard, the frontage roads stop and then they start back up, well, right over here, just west, and like to the west of the BNSF Rail Yard. So, well, of this BNSF railroad that'll take you directly down south. So you've got a pair of collector distributor lanes that let you exit and enter onto either 287 or 35 sorry, not 35, or 820. There's a bunch of other places that have something like this. As I explained, the Southeast connector is going to have the same thing. But one of the big things, some of the other big things that you have to factor in is going to be the Saginaw Rail Yard, which sits right next to this interchange. And by the way, from the most recent photo, it looks like they want to add on to this rail yard. And then, oh yeah, you have to factor in Fort Worth Mecum when it comes to this interchange. Now, when it comes to the mid segments, this is probably going to be where the most amount of question marks is going to be. And there are really 3 areas of concern. So first off, we have the 820 and State Highway 199 interchange. It is a pretty big interchange. There are continuous frontage roads as well as a collector distributor system at that area. But because there is a lot of traffic, I mean, this is the interchange right now. You've got a Cloverleaf interchange. You also have frontage roads. So basically, if you're coming off, you have to sit at the lights right here. Wait, no, there's no lights there. So these, okay, sorry, these don't have lights, but you do have to kind of go around here. But this is the next set of lights here. But when you come up here into this shopping area, as y'all can probably see, that's a lot of congestion coming into here. And that's a pretty big problem. Now, the collector distributor lanes here, it starts right before Azle Avenue's bridge. And you can either exit 4, say Highway 199 here. Well, this is northbound 199, or do that, and then you just come back, you take the exit for it. I don't remember what this road is, and then get back onto 820. Now, there's always a lot of congestion in that area, which is a big problem. The other big problem is going to be the Azle Avenue Bridge over 820. I mean, let me put that back on here. So another big problem with that is the fact that there are no U-turn lanes, and there's always a lot of traffic here at this interchange. I mean, you can kind of see why. I mean, it's a 4-lane highway for Azle Avenue, and they have the space to widen it to 6 in some places, because this is FM 1220 starting here. Because this right here is FM Farm Market 1220, but this is not. And then, of course, the other thing is going to be State Highway 199 for all the intersections at Hotchkiss and Azle Road. Why? I mean, look at this. This is Hotchkiss Road, and then it goes straight north. And then Azle Avenue comes west and then goes directly south. Those are 2 90-degree intersections. And one of the big problems is that if there's traffic here at Hotchkiss Road, at least at this interchange here, there's going to be a lot of traffic here on Azle Avenue, and it kind of impedes traffic that want to turn right onto Azle Avenue as well as onto Hotchkiss Road. It's a very interesting thing to see over on that area. Now, when it comes to the south segment, there's not really much to it, but what the south segment is, and I'll bring it up here. So the south segment basically takes you from Navajo Trail and goes all the way down to the 820 I-30 interchange. I mean, through most of that area, there's not too much development right alongside I-35, alongside 820, and there's actually some places where they've got a really wide right-of-way for 820. The big issue is gonna be the Lake Worth Bridge. Why? Because for 2 reasons. Number one, and probably the main reason is there's no discontinuous frontage roads leading up here. Basically, if you're on the frontage roads, these lead you directly into like these sets of houses here, and same thing over here. I mean, it's a great way to turn around, but there's nothing connecting over. Now, why would this be a little bit of a problem? Number one, this is wetlands right over here. That's why there's only like 1 house. But on the south side of this bridge, the southeast has a lot of houses. So if you build on here, you're going to have to be taking out about 2 or 3 houses to extend frontage roads over. And then also right on the northwest side of the Lake Worth Bridge is a boat ramp. And I would bet that is a pretty big thing for that area. Now, as we get to learn more about this project, we will get to see how the Texas DOT kind of wants to build this out. But at the moment, there are 3 different alternatives that they want to work on. Now, as of right now, this is what's known as the no build option. So right now, we have variation between 3 to 4 general purpose lanes, it's auxiliary lane for whenever you're needing to exit, with 10-foot shoulders. And then I believe there's about a 25 to 30 foot area in between the inner shoulders that are used for, that is used, well, as the median. So it's an unbarriered median. So it's about, on the main roads, let's say, it keeps a consistent 30-foot median, unbarried median. You're looking at about a 270-foot right-of-way just on the main lanes. So there's a lot. Now, one of the first things they're going to do, and this is alternative 1. To start with, there will not be a 24 to 30-foot unbarriered median anymore. So what they'll do, it is going to be a barrier median. Then they'll have a 12-foot inner shoulder on each side, a total of 5 lanes on each side. So no matter where you're going, it's going to be 10 lanes with an auxiliary lane. So that'll be, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm doing some quick math. Actually, let me move that over here. Look at it later. But on top of these 10 lanes with the 12-foot shoulders on either side, they're going to reconfigure the frontage roads where they're going to where unlike the no builds where it was anywhere between 0 to 2 lanes of frontage roads with an 8-foot shoulder on the outer side, they're going to change this to where they're going to have, or they will have 2 frontage road lanes on either side with 2-foot shoulders on either side of those lanes with an 11-foot sidewalk on the side for multimodal use. So with this build, this would build a brand new median inside within a 12-foot inner and outer shoulder with 10 lanes along the entire corridor. This would bring the right-of-way for the highway to as much as 192 feet. And then the ultimate build, and what I mean by ultimate build, this is just like with the stuff that's being built with concrete, is going to be about 270 feet wide. And this is if they scrunch them together. This isn't actually true because there's got to be space in between the highway and the frontage road, and then probably between the frontage road and the sidewalk. Now, as we take a look at the second alternative route, this is the express lane route. So what they'll do is, in the second alternative build, this takes a different perspective of the no-build option. Instead of widening Interstate 820 to 10 general-purpose lanes, why not shift the general-purpose lanes out and add 4 barricaded express lanes, 2 in each direction? And that no-build option, again, just one side of 820 uses a max of 80 feet right of way, 4 12-foot lanes, a 12-foot auxiliary lane for each side entering, and 10-foot inner and outer shoulders, with about 25 to 30 feet separating, again, yeah, it's with right of way. With the express lane alternative, so what they'll do is, again, they'll keep the same 3 to 4 lanes. So all of this you'll still keep the 60 foot of general purpose lanes with a 12-foot with a single auxiliary lane, so there's still 60 feet right there. But you'll also have a 12-foot shoulder on either side before you make it to the express lanes. That's kind of like what it'll look like. And that'll be on the same on the other side. But on the inside, you're going to have, right where the median is, you'll have a 4-foot inner shoulder with 2 12-foot express lanes going in each direction, and then a 10-foot shoulder on the outside. The express lane right-of-way would account for about 72 feet right-of-way, and with the general purpose lanes accounting for about 168 feet, the entire right-of-way would be about 240 feet wide just for the main lanes itself. This means that the main lanes would then be shifted outwards by at least 50 feet to fit the new express lanes. Now, if we take a look at alternative 3, this takes it takes both alternatives 1 and 2 and adds them together. So what this does is, in general, it just adds 1 lane. So unlike the general purpose alternative, which would give you 10 lanes in general, this would just add a single lane. So if you already have an 8-lane highway, you'll widen to 10. If you have a 6-lane highway, you'll widen to 8. But on top of that, you'll also get the express lanes as well. And then again, you got the frontage roads and the supplemental. So with this build, this would widen the main highway of Interstate 820 to 268 feet right of way. Again, this technically has the ability to build this out within the existing right of way being as low as 400 feet and as high as 560 feet. If you factor in the frontage roads on either side, which again will account for about 28 feet of way combined on each side, for one side, so 56 for both. And then the shared use patch, which accounts for 11 feet on either side. This would build the ultimate build of alternative 3 up to 346 feet. Now again, with all these alternatives, this would use a max of 350 feet for a possible ultimate build. This is just scrunching everything together. It's theoretically possible, but that's not a lot of space, especially for some places that only have like about 400 feet of right of way. Again, this will vary depending on what alternative build is ultimately decided on. Again, alternative 3, which is the express lanes and the general purpose, will use 346 feet of right of way. Alternative 2, which is just the express lanes, use 318 feet of ultimate right of way. And then alternative 1, which is just widening to 10 lanes in general, would use 270 feet of ultimate right of way. Now, what I mean by this is out of the entire width of the highway, again, the amount I just listed for each of those different alternatives would just be straight concrete. Now, on top of Interstate 820, they're also going to build out State Highway 199. Now, this is technically what it looks like right now. It's a 6-lane highway with a left turn lane, and then it varies in between what the inner median is, but they all have 2 feet shoulders. Now, the thing is that what they're trying to do is they're trying to extend what they've been working on with State Highway 199 as like coming in from the other side of Lake Worth, and they want to bring it up to 820. All of this technically, yes, it works, like especially here with the left turn lanes. I don't know if they're gonna like expand this going down here. I think that's not a great idea to fully expand State Highway 199 going down to Fort Worth into a full-size highway. I think at a bare minimum, just building this out to 820 as a full highway and then just keeping the main lanes coming up would be probably the best idea to do. The existing right-of-way varies between about 374 feet and about 530 feet. The right-of-way is wider northwest of 820, as this section of State Highway 199 is already built out far enough to build these main lanes in the middle and continue on the State Highway 199 widening project that's gone on north and west of Lake Worth. Now, when it comes to what they could do, it's pretty simple. So they're going to basically add a 6-lane highway in between the current general purpose lanes. The question is, do they depress it? Meaning like they'll trench it down like what they've done with US Highway 75, where they'll probably trench it down about a couple hundred feet. They'll have a 24-foot unbarriered median with 12-foot inner and outer shoulders, 12-foot general purpose lanes, and a 12-foot auxiliary lane. Or are they going to do a raised main lane? Well, they'll do the same thing, but they'll bring it up a couple hundred feet. You can probably guess, well, how would they be able to do it? You can probably kind of see how. This is supposed to be the new bridge that will go over State Highway 199. I don't know if they've completed it yet. I mean, last time I was out here, this was not complete. But all of this here is kind of already built out to where they could easily put in the lanes here. But the question is going to be, what's going to be done here? Are they going to just tear all of this out, or a few? I honestly do not know. Now, again, the interesting thing about both alternative builds for State Highway 199 is how it will be built out. Now, again, I've already said it's pretty self-explanatory. If we take a look at State Highway 199 from the southern edge of Lake Worth, we see the 240-foot wide right-of-way that exists between the current lanes of State Highway 199. However, after we pass Charbonneau Street, the southeastbound lanes merge over and sit right next to the northwestbound lanes as it heads directly east to the Cloverleaf interchange with 820. And why is this a problem? Again, you've already got businesses built out here. So if they decide to do that, are all of these going to be relocated, or are they going to be okay? My best guess is they'll most likely build out the new State Highway 199 interchange to the south of where the Cloverleaf is now, but the big question is going to be how much farther south. If they do this, they'll most likely have to relocate the Brahms, the Quick Lube, the O'Reilly, as well as the Lube and Detail behind the Soapy Jeff's car wash and the oil change if they build out State Highway 199 main lanes to the south. And what I mean by that is it's basically going to be, there's probably going to be these 4 things here, and they actually could probably take out that car wash and oil change too, just because you could extend this farther south and then maybe have it curve up a little bit, and then you build the new A20 interchange here, make it a little bit more compact because you don't really need it to be that far out. And then this will just be like 199 business of some sorts. And then boom, just bring it back onto here. You could probably take this building out too, because this one is a pretty old building and I don't think anybody's using it. So you could take this out, rebuild this interchange, and then you've got some more development you could build here. You could probably you could probably take out these collector distributor lanes and then just do something like that. I think the best thing in that area would be to just build a stacked interchange because it saves space and it's probably going to look nicer. Again, as I said, the upside is it could eliminate the Cloverleaf interchange and it allows for more development to be built on State Highway 199 north and south of 820. There may be one or two businesses that might be relocated south of 820 as State Highway 199 is brought back to its current alignment, but it all depends on what it could do. Now, as we start to wrap up, let's take a look at the analysis matrix. So with this, it's kind of been split into 4 different categories. So you've got the need and purpose category, the feasibility, engineering, and design category, the environmental category, and then the construction cost category. Now, the no build option is obviously something that they are not looking at doing. I mean, it does not serve any sort of needs and purpose. The only thing it kind of addresses is like the right of way because, well, you're not really doing anything for right of way. Doesn't displace anyone, doesn't really cost much. But when it comes to some of these alternatives, it looks like the best one would be just the general purpose lanes. And you can kind of see why. So alternatives 1 and 3 account for both the mobility, connectivity, as well as the safety aspects of this need and purpose. And this actually has a better mobility than than alternative 2. And then when you come to the feasibility, engineering, and design, this actually is very similar to alternative 2, where it's not really a lot of utility relocations. It does bring in technology accommodations, but unlike alternative 3, and similar to alternative 2, not taking up so much right of way. You might have to build out some more. Again, I believe that's because of the Lake Worth bridge. They're going to have to buy some right of way, but then the displacements is the best out of all of them. Express lanes are going to be expensive because, again, you're shifting the main lanes out about 50 feet before you're even doing anything else. And with the general purpose lanes, you're shifting out a little bit farther. You're shifting it out 50 feet, but then also adding at least one more lane. So kind of a lot. Hence why the general purpose and express lanes are going to be the most expensive, because not only because they're adding the express lanes, but they're also adding in 4th/5th lane. Whereas the general purpose lanes is just widening it to 10 lanes maximum. As we begin to wrap up this video, we're currently at the very, very beginning portion of this study for this A20 Northwest project. Because this project kind of started about a year and a half ago, it's a long way from construction starting. Again, there's going to be many more public meetings going on while this study is ongoing. Sometime in mid-2025, we'll get to see the corridor study recommendations for both the north and the south segments. The mid segment looks like it's going to take the longest time to complete because they also have to factor in State Highway 199's expansion, as well as probably the rework of Azle Avenue. There will be another public meeting right around the same time in 2025, and then another public meeting in mid-2026, which at that time is also going to hopefully should complete the corridor study. And if they complete the schedule, this will move them onto the environmental stage, as well as getting the schematics done and figuring out like what would be the best route to do. But with that, we're going to end the video right here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video over the Interstate 820 Loop Northwest project. If you liked what you just watched, make sure you guys leave a like and subscribe down below. If you want to keep yourself informed of new information regarding the 820 Northwest Loop project, make sure you guys hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future uploads, whether it's new updates on the 820 Loop project, any other automotive content, or mountain bike content, as well as our weather live streams. Hope you all have a great day, and I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving, since this next video does come out on Black Friday. Peace.